All right, so just to make sure we have a comparison here, we're going to be looking at our A value. Every problem that we read, we're going to identify our A value. Okay, we're going to identify whether it's growth or decay. There are going to be key words that tell us whether it's growth or decay. We got to find those to know which formula we're going to use. We need to identify our rate. They're going to give us a percentage rate. Now remember that rate has to be divided by 100. And then we're going to figure out what we're going to substitute in, which is our X value. And in our first problem, it says the original value of an investment is $1,400. So if it's the original value, that means that that's going to be my initial value. So this is going to be my A value. Now, there is a key word in this problem, and it says the value increases. So right there, I now know this is going to be a growth problem because we're increasing. And it tells us that we're increasing by 9%. Okay, so my rate is 9%, but we cannot use the percentage in our formula. So we're going to take that 9% and we're going to divide it by 100. So when you're doing this, you can have Desmos pulled up. And in Desmos, we're going to be looking and we're just going to say 9 divided by 100. And we now know that we're going to use the decimal 0.09. Okay. All right, so in addition to, it tells us that it wants us to write an exponential function that models this situation, and they want us to calculate what it'll be worth in 25 years. So 25 is going to represent my time. That's my X value that we're going to substitute in. So remember, our growth model is going to be A times 1 plus R raised to X. It's going to be plus because it is a growth model. So we're going to substitute what we know. So we're going to say Y equals, we know our A value is 1,400. 1 plus is part of the formula. My rate is 9%, but we're not going to substitute in 9%. We're going to substitute in the division that number we got, which is 0.019. So we're going to plug in 0.019. And for right now, I'm just going to raise it to X. We're going to plug in the time in a minute. What I do want you to see is that I can simplify my base right here. So that base, I can go ahead and say in the parentheses 1 plus 0.01 or 0.09, and my base is going to turn into 1.09. So we got 1,400 times 1.09 raised to X. That's technically my model. This is my model that we have created. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use that model and we're going to plug in 25. So we're going to say Y equals 1,400 times 1.09, and we're going to raise that to 25. We're calculating what this should equal. So if I go to Desmos, I'm going to type it in just like I see it. So 1,400 times 1.09. And we're going to raise that to, make sure you go outside the parentheses and raise it to 25. So my investment started out as 1,400 and now it's approximately worth, in 25 years, it'll be worth $12,000 and $12,072, and since we're dealing with money, we'll say around 31 cents.